everybody. I'm Shane Howard, tax assessor collector for Jefferson County. And I want to thank you all for being here tonight. We took a little bit of risk. The Tea Party talked to me a couple of weeks ago and said, what do you think about having State Representative Joe Deshotel come and participate in this rally for a community about people helping people? And I said, I think it's a great idea because I know the man, I've worked with the man, and I'm very good friends with his son, I'm proud to say, even though we beat each other's brains in debates. Because one thing I know, that despite the fact that we probably don't agree on hardly anything policy-wise, what we do agree upon is that we're trying to get to the same place. We're trying to make our community better. And I want to give you a real quick example about how this man, who we don't agree much on policy-wise, but we know we love Southeast Texas, we know we love our citizens here in this region. The Senate Redistricting Committee was going to split Jefferson County in half a couple of months ago. Some of us spotted it. We called up Joe, we called up Alan, we called up our local delegation. And despite the fact that it might hurt politically to the party that he belongs in, Joe said that can't stand. Jefferson County has to remain as one, and that's the most important thing, even if it means that there's not political power that comes with it. And that sort of thing right there is a sort of representative. The spirit, even if we can disagree, when you're dealing with an honest man, when you're dealing with a man who's proud of what he believes, and even when he knows that you don't agree with it, it's that kind of integrity that I think that we're looking for, and especially when we talk about a rally that's about raising some food for some folks that are in need, because there are people in need, when we're talking about the things that we need to do to help neighbors. Neighbors helping neighbors, because if you take our philosophy as free market capitalists to its logical extension and we move federal government out of the way, it doesn't mean that poverty goes away. It doesn't mean that the issues in our community goes away. All we're saying is, control freaks, let go, we will take care of it. That's what the message is. That's what capitalism is about. And so I'm proud to introduce State Representative Joe Deshotel, who came to participate in a rally about neighbors helping neighbors and people helping people. And so, Joe, if you'll come up, I'd like to introduce you.
Thank you very much, Shane. Yeah, I'm glad to be here for a minute, though I thought I was the only one that got the memo that it was nonpartisan. But I'm going to stay on track and talk about unity of the party. We have plenty of time to attack each other and attack the president, attack the other parties. But, you know, as I talked to the media today and asked me, why were you here? And I said, I feel confident that if you went to the Tea Party and you said, list the top 10 things that you want to see accomplished by the United States of America. You went to the Democratic Party, what are the top 10 things you want to see accomplished by the United States of America? I imagine you'd have a lot of a lot of things that are similar. Where we differ on is how we get to where we're trying to go. You know, we talked about being pro-life. I consider myself pro-life, but I would never vote for a law that criminalized abortion. We've been there. We saw what back alley abortions would do. What I will fight for is education. Education as to why you should not have unwanted pregnancies. What you should do to avoid unwanted pregnancies. And a thing that really concerns me as a legislator when we talk about being pro-life, I tease some of my friends on the Republican Party and I said, you're not pro-life, you're pro-birth, because you will vote against abortion, but you won't vote to take care of the kid once he's born. You will cut education, you will cut health care, but so if you want this child to be born as I do, and want them to be adopted or so as I do, they can't make it. Just because they get out of the birth canal, don't forget about them. They must have some support. So what I would think and what I would hope a rally like this, the purpose I saw it, was for the leadership of the Tea Party, the leadership of the Democratic Party, and a number of Democrats here. The funny thing about it, you can look at the audience, and I couldn't tell you who was the Democrat and who was the Tea Party member. And that should tell us something, because we're all from the same community. It should tell us that we all have so much in common. And if you're sitting in a rowboat, as I would say we are in the United States, because it's a bigger boat, and you got the people in the front rowing this way and the people in the back rowing that way, you're not going to move. That's what's happening in Washington, D.C. I think that we can avoid that happening here because we do have a lot in common. All of us want smaller government. We don't always agree on what to cut. We cut education. I was overseas last week in Turkey. They're going through an austerity program and they're having to cut their budget. They have a parliamentary form of budget. So we asked them about education. They said education is untouchable. We will cut everything before we cut education. I said, well, in Texas, we cut it first, $4 billion. They said, well, how in the world are you going to build yourself or grow yourself into a strong economy if you don't have an educated population? We held harmless the prison system. To me, that doesn't make any sense, and I'm trying to talk us to work on things together. It takes $35,000 a year to house a prisoner. It takes $7,000 to educate a child. We cut education. We held prisoners harmless. Now, if you go to the prison system and you look at the statistics, you're not going to find many people in prison with a bachelor's degree. Not a whole lot with a high school education, either fewer with a master's and hardly any with a PhD. And it's a lot less to get them to that level than it is to sit them there for 20 or 30 years and pay $35,000 a year for. We need to come to some solutions that we can say, what do we do to keep people out of prison? Education, we'll do that. Economic development, jobs, we'll do that. Now, there's a new jobs program out. Everybody's not going to agree with everything on the president's jobs program. But there has to be something in there you agree is cutting payroll taxes in half for many small businesses. Can't we at least say that's good if we want to cut I think it's good. So what I'm saying is that we should not be, and I try not to be, and I work across the aisle as many times as I can, but there are too many of us in politics, Washington and Austin, and where else my time? I don't want to go too far over. But if an idea comes up by John Q, and he's a Republican, the Democrats oppose it. If Democrats come up with an idea, the Republicans oppose it. Nobody's looking at the validity of the idea. We have to get away from that. We have to look at the idea. We have to look at the idea and say, you know, I can't support that, but if you did this with that idea, I could support that. I don't think there's a whole lot of things that policy-wise that the Tea Party could not work with the full Republican Party or with the Democratic Party on certain policy issues. We all want to get out of debt. We all want to get the debt off of our grandkids. We all want an educated society. We all want a strong middle class. All of us out here, I think, want those things. But we talk at each other, we don't talk to each other. And we have to stop talking at each other and attacking each other on every little issue, even insignificant. You know, there are signs out here, don't believe the liberal media. And I'm sure the Democrats sign, don't believe the conservative media. My saying would be, don't believe any of them. We are smart enough to look up things, to research things, and find out for ourselves what the truth is. Don't you understand that as long as the Tea Party fights the Democrats and the Democrats fight the Republicans, the people who are making the most money in this country are just going to sit back and laugh? None of us are making that kind of money, but the people in that industrial complex, the military-industrial complex that have those million-dollar bombs that we're dropping every day, the $1.5 trillion we spend in Afghanistan and Iraq, those people are living the unbelievable life, and as long as we argue with each other, this group against that group, that's going to continue, and we're going to be the one to suffer. They're going to laugh all the way to the bank, and we need to be smarter than that. So in closing, I'm saying, let's our leadership start talking to each other and find common ground on something, because I know it exists. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mr. Deshotel. This time we'd like to introduce our next speaker.